All right, so everybody should have received one of the proficiency scale papers. That's what you see on the board up here. Just a reminder, our lights are red, so that means our auto champ settings are what they have been. Please no communication either verbally or non-verbally. If you need help, you need to raise your hand. With our activity, since you're learning something that you are going to be using definitely for the rest of this year, and probably with the way the district is going for like the time you're in the district, proficiency scales, this is important information that you need to know about. So I need your full undivided attention. So eyeballs need to be up here. Yes, ma'am. I'll tell you what you need to write on it when you need to write on it. Okay. So we're going to explain all the parts of this. So you do need to make sure that you're focused in. There is one thing you could get up without permission to do. What is that? Yeah. Get a tissue, get a Kleenex, right? Participation. Participation, I need your full attention. Make sure you are not disturbing others. You need to give your best effort. Go ahead. Okay? So, our proficiency scale, you get one copy of this from me. Okay? If you lose this copy, you're not getting another paper copy. However, it is on Canvas. So you can print off a copy at home with mom or dad or guardian, things like that, but you will not get another one from me. At this point, please put your name and hour at the top of this paper. So it's going to be first name, last name, and hour. Please do that now at the very top of the paper. Okay? So we are going to talk about what's going on with the proficiency scale. So here's the deal. With our proficiency scale, the whole idea of this is for you to be able to judge for yourself if you are learning the things your teachers need to know. So it's going to be in every class, and like I said, the district as a whole is going towards this. So you're going to see these in lots of classes. Okay, it might not even be this year, but it's going to be something that's not going away. So the whole point is you are going to be able to kind of know if you are on track or not. Okay? So if we kind of look at the top, and we're going to kind of go box by box. So you see at the top where it says power standard? Where it says power standard, this is the thing that the teacher needs you to know. Now, your teachers don't usually tell you the power standard. We call it a learning goal. So if you've seen your learning goals, this is where the teachers get them from, and we don't make these up like the state of Missouri makes them up. So if you notice our learning goal that we wrote over here, I can explain the significance of physical geography to the development of classical Greece. I can explain the significance of physical geography to the development of classical Greece. Your learning goal and the power standard, they are the same. So your standard is the learning goal. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, maybe no. Mm-hmm. Great. Now, one of the things that we have talked about in here, I think that this, even though it makes sense to me as a teacher who's gone to college to be able to know what this stuff means, I don't think this does a very good job of telling you what you need to do to be successful. That's why in here, you know, we always do kind of that expanded learning goal, right? So go ahead and move your paper for me, please. So that's why, you know, for every learning goal we've done, we always take those words and kind of explain what they mean, right? So our expanded learning goal does a better job of telling you what you need to know to be successful. The expanded learning goal tells you exactly what you need to do. So remember, we already went over this, so we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time breaking it down because we've already done that. But what I need for you to be able to do is provide evidence of the importance of land, water, climate, resources to the growth of Greece and Rome, right? That tells you specifically what you need to do. Oh, I need to look at the way Rome looks. I need to look at the way Greece looks. I need to look at their water features. I need to look at their natural resources. I need to look at the climate there, what the weather is like. And then I need to be able to explain how those things helped Greece and Rome to grow, right? Now, nice thing for you is we've already kind of done this for Greece, haven't we? Like at this point in class right now, you should be able to name land features in Greece. You should be able to explain how those things help Greece to grow. If you cannot, you need to go back and re-study that. But here's what I need for you to do. So you see this second box where it says expanded power standard, what my teacher wants me to be able to do? In that blank box, that's where we're going to put the expanded learning goal, where we've put in the like words and what exactly you need to do. So for those of you that can't see the board over here, okay, we're going to go ahead and I'll type it in here so that way you can see it. But we're going to take this second one, the one that's purple and red, and we're going to write that into this area. Okay? Does that make sense? So go ahead and do that now. This is going to be the first one. So I'll tell you, like I said, I'm getting ready to type it here. Okay? I can evidence of the importance of land, water, climate, and natural resources to the growth of Greece and Rome. Okay? So I will leave this up here. I'm sure you probably didn't have a chance to get this all the way written down, but I also know that as 7th graders, you're only going to be able to pay attention for so long, and so we're not going to waste some of that time doing this. I will scroll back up to this so you can get this later, but just know that this is what you have to write in this box. It's also over here, and I'll scroll it back up here in a second. So if you didn't finish it, don't worry about it. It'll come back up here. It'll be back up here. You're good. But I do want to move on so that way you can know what you need to do, because we're not going to spend our whole class talking about this. Okay. So you see how that next box down, it says supporting standards? Again, supporting standards, those are going to be your learning goals. We don't call them power standards and supporting standards for you. It's your learning goal. Okay? What I need for you to do, if you look over on the side, you see how it says exceeding? So this is where the proficiency scale gets really helpful for you, okay? So, exceeding, what this basically means is this is above and beyond. So, the teachers, we have things that you have to know. If you can check off all the things for exceeding, that means you've gone above and beyond. That's like the cold foam with the little caramel drizzle on your Starbucks drink, right? You don't need it, but it makes it better. So, exceeding is above and beyond the goal. And so if you look here, that kind of means it's like, I've got this, I understand what's going on, I understood the assignment, I need and want more of a challenge, so I'm going to do these things, okay? So exceeding is not something that everybody is going to necessarily do. And honestly, for some units, you might be like, yeah, I really get this, I'm going exceeding. For some units, you might be like, ooh, I'm not going to quite make it to exceeding, and that's okay. Exceeding is the extra, okay? Does that part make sense? Okay, so you see how there are these 3 check boxes here? Basically, if you are exceeding, so if you've made it to the exceeding level, that means that you can do all of these things no problem, okay? And again, for exceeding, if you can't do all those things, it's okay. So you see how our next one is proficient? Yes, maybe no? Yes. Okay, proficient is super important for us. This is where you need to be. So proficient is the expectation. Everybody needs to be at proficient. Proficient means that you're on track for grade level. This is what I need to be able to do when we are done. So by the time Mr. Seymour is done teaching you about geography of Rome, you should be able to check both of these boxes off, no problem. You should be able to explain how geographical features influence the settlement and development of ancient Greece and Rome. You should be able to summarize how classical civilizations responded or were affected by natural forces. Now, we're just starting. Should you know how to do these two things yet? No, and if you don't, is that okay for right now?
Oh, is this for,
Yeah.
Is this for Rome only?
This is for Rome, but our learning goal for Rome is to compare it to Greece. So that's a really good question. Okay? So, proficient is what we need to be doing. Again, you're not here yet because you haven't learned that stuff, and that's okay. Now, if you go down to the next one, it says approaching. Okay? So here's what approaching means. Approaching means I'm not there yet. Here's the work that I need to do to have all the right information. So approaching means that you're getting the background stuff so that way you can do the proficient. So you have to get all the check boxes in approaching before you can do the proficient, okay? So this is like your background information. This is the stuff that you need to do to be ready to learn. So if you look, and this is going to be important for us because this is kind of what we are doing now, okay? So on your paper, you see how there's that second blank box a little bit about 2/3 of the way down on the front? Everybody see that? And you see how there's another, blank spot? So we've got our second learning goal. This is the thing that we're working on now, actually. I can remember and find vocabulary words that are specific to Greece and Rome's geography. So go ahead, take a moment to get that written down in that second box. Okay, so we're going to kind of scroll down. So again, literally today, this is what we are working on. So we're working on approaching getting the background information that we need to be able to successfully show that we're proficient at the geography for Greece and Rome. So you can remember and find vocabulary words that are specific to Greece and Rome's geography. Friendly reminder, tomorrow you have a 10-10-10 vocabulary quiz on these words, okay? So if you look at the approaching, and I think this is still on the front. So you are supposed to know these vocabulary words and be able to find them on a map. So if you look, you see how there's a little checkbox next to all these vocab words? Once you can define what these things are and locate them on a map without like having to cheat or get help. If you can look at a map, if you can look at a blank map, I didn't mean cheat, but if you can look at a blank map and know where all these things are and find these things, okay? And if you can do that from memory and you can know what these words are and kind of define them, then you put a little check mark here for each of those things, okay? And that's your cue that like, yes, I actually know this. And it has to be a thing where you can know it and remember it without like help. It's not one, you know how sometimes you do vocab and you're like, okay, I can kind of remember it and I kind of got it. Don't check it off until it's like, yeah, I totally remember this. I'm going to remember it. It's not just a short memory, okay? And honestly, for these, list examples of physical geography in Greece and Rome. Right now, everybody in this class should be able to list examples of physical geography for Greece, right? Everybody in here should know what the Peloponnesus is. Everybody in here should know what the mainland is. Everybody in here should know where the Aegean Sea is, where the Ionian Sea is, okay? So from memory, we should already have this done for Greece, right? From memory, we should have examples of how geography affected where Greeks decided to settle. We know about that from our trade routes and stuff like that. Okay? Identify the effects of natural force within civilizations. We know how storms affected Greece. So really, we just have to find this stuff for Rome now, don't we? Because if you did your job with Greece, we've already got this for Greece. You're already halfway there. Okay? Is that making sense how this proficiency scale works?
Yes.
So again, what I would say is, since we have to know the stuff for Greece and Rome, should we check these boxes off for Rome yet if we don't know the stuff for Rome? No, but can we circle or highlight the stuff that we already know about Greece if we know it? Yeah, right? So this is going to help you to keep track of what you know and what you need to know. Okay? Developing means that with help, you can understand some of the stuff. So this would be like if you kind of sort of remember what the vocabulary words mean, but you need to look them up again. This is if you have to get a reminder from a teacher. It means you've got to work on some skills and catch up, but you're almost caught up, right? Not yet means I don't know anything about it. And to be honest, if we're first starting, is it okay to be at not yet? Yeah. Some of this stuff you may have never heard of, right? Remember when we were talking about Greece and I started talking about like the Peloponnesus and you all were like, what? But now I say Peloponnesus and you're like, oh, I know what that is. I know where that is. Okay? So, keeping in mind that we need to know these words. Here's what your first learning activity is going to be today. You will do this with lights on purple. If we have good energy, we might work to lights on blue and we could go work in the neighborhood. Just a sec. Okay? So first thing, remember, we have to be able to know what these words mean and we have to be able to locate or find them on a map. Okay? So I am going to give you about 15 minutes to work on defining these terms. After that, we're going to get back together. I'm going to explain Google My Maps. I know some of you have had a chance to do the Dream Vacation, so you already know how Google My Maps works. I'm going to make sure we all know how it works, and then you will work on locating where these things are on a map. Okay? And again, once you have that resource, you will have stuff to study so that you can remember what the vocabulary words mean and you could know where they are. Okay? Does that make sense? Some people have asked, do I have to write the definitions here on the sheet? No. If you know that you write big and you're going to need more space, it's okay to use a piece of paper. I would suggest stapling that paper to this so you have it, but it is definitely okay to do it on a separate sheet of paper. Some people kind of use color or different colored pencils and things like that to help them to remember. Whatever will help you remember is okay. Any questions on what we are doing for this first part of class? Okay, lights are going to go to purple. We're going to get back together at 8:40. Ready, set, go.